workings of the mind, abiding like empty space. Maybe I should say a few words for those people online that we started a little bit later. We started. You already. We just started. So some of you probably missed the beginning part of the sutra request, but we just started. We just opened the text, and we are the lecture just begin. So what I thought that could be maybe valuable to share from my perspective. So I also will stay with kind of reviewing mode, and I will not go further. When Rev Heng Sure will come here, can continue from the place when he stopped 2 weeks ago. But what's I notice from my perspective is kind of significant and kind of one of the essential points of the Mahayana teachings is the importance of the vows. And we have in this our first verses actually talking about that on the 7th stage you cultivate wisdom and expedient means. You gather aids to the way and strong vows. And also, as we know, the 7th stage, this is, I can say, in very ways, very dedicated to practice of vows. And like one time, Rev Heng Sure shared with us what Rinpo Master talked about the Bodhisattva progress. So the first kind of vow, first resolution to make the Bodhisattva path accomplished. First, we should make body resolve. This is the first moment, the first significant moment of the career, the Bodhisattva, and then the second moment is the time when we are here now. This is the seventh stage, 7th ground, when this is kind of fuel that keep going the Bodhisattva on the path. And I reflect a moment about the meaning of vows and what speaks to us about, what vows mean to us. Do we need vows? Can we make vows? And especially in our tradition, we can kind of with confidence say, yes, the vows, we can make it. They are important for us. And as we heard from the senior disciples of Master Hua, very often happened in the 70s when the Master gave the lectures or different Dharma assemblies. From time to time, people just kneel down and share the vows with others. These vows were very different, some very deep and profound, like helping all living beings, transform them, or very kind of personal, short-term vows, I can say. I try to, I don't know, from today I will wake up, and 5 o'clock, for instance, right? And I will keep going this day by day, and this resolution set in the assembly, like Rev Heng Sure told, this very good image, give kind of wind, this kind of wind behind our wings, and this, we are kind of inspired. We have clear direction, and what I reflect about my practice, and I notice, actually the vows are very important in my personal cultivation. When, as you know, most of you, I came from Poland, and in Poland, the chance that you are not Catholic is like 2%, probably, if you are born in the in this country. 98% of the Catholic in this country. Some of you are face this. In the last year, we have a trip to Poland. Like we were in the Krakow, and in Krakow is 153 churches, and all of them are full of people each Sunday. And it's not only one mass, it's like 6 mass during the day. So it's very strong religious country. So Buddhism is, it's still in the very kind of beginning phase. And so I remember my meeting with Dharma teaching. It's happened in. Actually, today we have the question: why you are leave home, right? And this kind of typical question, what very often people ask us, and it's interesting that is connected to the vows. I think very strictly, tightly, but I noticed that very often I reflect and I. Noticing new factors. So my story leaving home is kind of still discover a little bit changed. Oh, this was important event in my life. What is very crucial to make this decision. But I think first, because the moment. When I decided to move here to California and started the training, this happened far ahead. First, I encountered the teaching. I encountered the sutra. I have a chance to work in the office with one novice nun. Sorry, she was ex-novice nun. And she decided to leave the city of 10,000 Buddhas and return to lay life and back to Poland. And I met her in my workplace. And she gave me. She knows that I a little bit have some interest about the Buddhist teaching, and she gave me the copy of Sixth Patriarch Sutra with commentary of Venerable Master Heng Sure. And it's kind of raw translation of this text, and this sutra, when I open it, is deeply kind of talk to my heart and completely changed my life. And many is actually I can say that my new life begin. And what first came to my mind, and it was very interesting, that I met some friends who are the practitioners. And my friend Jerzy mentioned, oh, if you start cultivation, you should make a vow. Okay, vow. Okay, this is a completely new concept for me. What means vow? But I noticed, okay, first probably because it's so new for me, the teaching, and somehow resonate. But also my habits were very strong at the time, were not really according with the Dharma in many ways. And so my first vow was I vow to follow the Buddha's teaching and never give up. And do life after life times. To the end of my life, I've completely devoted to the Buddha's teaching, and I do day by day. And this change, this when I said this to myself and I repeat day by day, it really kind of, how to say, open completely new road for me. When with confidence I started, the bowing, I started the recitation, chanting, and do different practices. And this vow kept me going for up till today. I still vow the same. I still keep this vow, and it's very important to make these vows, I think, because as we know, very often our today's world don't encourage us to practice the Dharma, to go deeply, to and investigate what is true about ourselves. many times, can open any phone or actually it's everywhere. Say not cultivate the Dharma, right? In many ways, and I noticed that because of this vow, they keep me going. This is my fuel, my kind of deep spiritual fuel. When I always stop in kind of crossroads, okay, the vow came to my mind, and okay, keep going, don't give up, keep going, and it's happened. So the next kind of chapter, what is connected to the vows, is the moment when I received the 3 refuges and 5 precepts. So, and in Mahayana, they're also very connected to the vows, right? And we vow that at the end of this life, I will not steal. To the end of this life, I will not kill, and so on and so on. So it was wow. So I remember this. The ceremony of the precepts was kind of short, small ordination in the kind of lay sense, but it's very strong. And I think it's so strong because of the vows. So for me, actually, the precepts are another expression of vows. It's very kind of deeply going to our mind, heart, and become sometimes even stronger than any thoughts and any impulse, anything what's appears in our mind, heart, and give the direction. So, der Master, I started the Master talking about the vows. I was not sure where we are stopped, because the nuns a week ago review the sutra text, and I stopped in the vows here.
I appreciate your. Boost this, Jerry. Little louder on this guy. There we go, just right. You're stepping in and speaking Dharma, turning the Dharma wheel and explaining the Avatamsaka Sutra. You keep that. So I came in while the Dharma wheel is turning, and I feel kind of like maybe even unnecessary, but since I'm happy to share it. So my name is Heng Sure. You've been hearing from Bhikshu Jinwei. This is the staff of the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, bringing the sutra alive for you once a week, and very much appreciate Jerry and all the other Dharma friends Connie, and who 15 minutes ago were on a large bus coming down from Reedsport, Oregon, from 7 a.m. this morning, and arrived at 7:30, so 12 hours on the bus, and it's worth every minute of it. But we, because of, and I know that there are people in Queensland translating into Chinese for Chinese speakers, and people are listening online, and we are in the season of Northern California's wildfires. And we woke up this morning fully intending to drive down Highway 5 as usual, and I would have been here on time. But there's a fire near Redding, California, near Shasta, which is truly, it's creating its own weather system, they say, with tornadoes and of fire vortexes and such. So we had to change our route. And we took the old route that Phil will know, was Highway 101, and that adds time to our trip. And we also made a stop at City of 10,000 Buddhas to deposit a third of our bus and passengers who were going to the Guanyin session, CTTB. So, but we made it by golly. And to hear Jin Weisher talking about vows is a real thing. And I know Yerje, his friend who first instructed him that if he was going to cultivate in the Mahayana, he needed to make vows. And I can see him saying that, probably insisting that you make a vow. You must.
Yeah.
No.
Not a choice.
So indeed, vows, you said it powers you to this day. And vows, the thing about vows is that they're, when you put that seed in your mind, what's a vow? A vow is a particularly strong thought. It's a stronger than normal kind of thought. I'm going to do this. And a vow that works unites your head and your hands and your heart and your spirit. And in Christianity we would say, and your soul. And as a result, it makes waves in your mind. And as I was talking about, we talked about the people who who suddenly arrived here. We have Mai up in the balcony who just hopped off the bus to provide the Vietnamese translation. So we're a portable sutra lecture that travels up and down the Pacific coast. So the question would be, and where my mind goes thinking about that is, what waves in the mind does a vow make that it can come back? When we were making vows in the early days of Gold Mountain Monastery, people spontaneously, they would remember their vows. And they were strong enough that they would stand up in the middle of the assembly, usually at the end of the lecture, and light incense, walk around 3 times and bow in front of the assembly and say, before the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and the 3 periods of time, before the Great Assembly and the Venerable Master, I, disciple so-and-so, wish to make the following vow. And then it would come out, and I've talked about this before, months and months ago, but Jin Weisher is following our verse today. And so these vows would pop out, and people would say, did you plan to say that? No, where'd that come from? It just came up. And I mean it. Now, not every time. Sometimes people would think, gee, I think maybe I'm supposed to make a vow too, and so they would stand up and go around and do the whole thing. And after they were done, Sherpa would go, nah, you can't do that. You just pop the bubble, you know. And so that's kind of a sing-along vow, right? Kind of echoing other people who may be really sincere, but you know, in the end, how do you know? How do you know if it's the real thing? Well, there's a little aspect of magic here, because why? It's invisible. There's no proof, there's no clock, but it pops up, and you want to make that vow, and you mean it, you promise. So, how interesting. Let's see here, you did the first one, right? Can somebody tell me how far the Bhikshunis got last week? Did anybody remember? Because we have been completely out of internet and cell phone coverage. I told them to start where the Buddhas are appearing to the cultivator and giving him encouragement, right? Saying, go, go, go. Which many dharmas, not just yours, diligently advance through the... So, page 45. Did they do the verse at the bottom? Anybody here who remembers? Bottom of page 45. Okay, to the end. Okay, that's where they were supposed to. Thank you, Gojan. Okay, so let's flip over to page 46 and 47, over the top there. And I can share this. I'll give you a preview before we jump right in. We have some photos that we want to share from Buddha Root Farm, and that's the reason what we were doing up there in Oregon was a summer camp. Buddha Root Farm up in the mountains outside of Reedsport, and we had a photo class this year, which was new, photography workshop seminar, and Jerry was our photography seminar instructor, and a huge amount of talent came out, and it's fueled by the fact that pretty much everybody has a camera in your pocket, the cell phone, and the cell phone was the camera that was the standard, and every day from 10 to 11 we would have this class of photography and get an assignment, everybody go out and click, 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 and then we would show what we had. And the quality, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. The quality of the photographs that emerged were astonishing. Gee, people have a wonderful aesthetic sense that I wasn't aware that it was so widespread. So I guess maybe Instagram has a lot to do with that, and Facebook, and Snapchat, and Twitter. But the way people were visualizing their world through their cell phones was quite wonderful. We're going to show you tonight, after 9, the best of those photos. So we've got them, and we're going to share the experience of Buddha Root Farm through cameras. And at one point, like last night, what was the total number of photographers who contributed last night? 20 people contributed photos to the final, to what we're going to see. So that was lovely. That's a change. Okay, page 46 now. I will give you the Chinese, and you repeat after me if you choose to do so, and then we'll read the English together. So it's right here. We can move this out of the way. We don't need that there. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. 如是人天所应供. Your turn. 于此智慧分 I'm sorry, my mistake. 于此智慧令观察，无边佛法悉得成。一念超过囊众横。Okay, there we go. English together, ready? Here we go. This is how those worthy of God's and humans' offerings give wisdom to you and help you contemplate, so you realize, that's a typo, the boundless Buddha Dharma, and in a single thought transcend your prior practices. So you, that's one typo, realize, scratch the S, and in a single thought transcend, scratch the S, your prior practices. Okay, what's this about? This is the summary of the Buddha's exhortation to the cultivator. We've been talking about how amazing it is, this phenomenon, that at the 8th ground where we are, if you are sincere and you fully intend to continue, but you get to this crisis of consciousness and reality goes sideways, the Buddhas will come and cheer you on. And that, I mean, just that fact alone has always tickled me. It's like, wow, you know, that's really pretty amazing. The Buddhas, who are the Buddhas? You know, how many come, and what language do they speak? All that stuff. Of course, those aren't the questions to ask. But the sutra says you at that point need help, because most people will not push through. It's too outrageous, the challenge in front of you. And over the weeks we've been talking about this, I've tried to imagine myself what it must be like, and so I can kind of convey a sense to you all of what it might be like. And I don't know, but you get the sense that it must be scary. And so the Buddhists come and say, don't forget your vows. And as we looked, let's flip back here. What do they hit on? What's the leverage they use to get you to continue? The last three stanzas. They praise your samadhi. First of all, they say, good job, you're doing good. Jayo, jayo, jayo. They say, you're doing good. And then they put oil on the crown of your head so you feel as if you've been already brought into a new status. This anointing of the crown means you've been confirmed in a new status. Okay, I talked about Bishop John Wester, whom we saw, the auxiliary bishop of San Francisco, get anointed on the crown. And so you know something special is happening at this point. And then they say, but you know what? You're not there yet. So it's interesting. They say, way to go, good job. We're going to confirm you here, but you're still, there's a road to walk ahead of you. The Buddha Dharmas that we give to people are not yours yet, right? So go further, continue. Okay? Then that's the first idea. The second thing they say is you're already, affliction is no longer a part of you. So greed, anger, delusion, pride, and doubt are over for you. And you know what? Living beings are miserable. Not only, but they say you have finished the fires of affliction, but living beings are really, really in pain. They're hurting. So here's the leverage. They're working on compassion. Okay, and one of the things I didn't say up at Buddha Root Farm that I had ready but I didn't talk about was how Buddhism does not talk about guilt. G-U-I-L-T. Buddhism doesn't do guilt. And guilt is different from shame. Now, Heng Sure was pointing to the number of Catholics in Poland, right? 98%. It's kind of like the number of Mormons in Salt Lake City, right? More even. And if you're an ex-Catholic, you know about guilt. Or if you're a current Catholic, you know about guilt. Guilt is a sense. I am not a Catholic, and I don't mean to sound critical. It's not my tradition. But we know when somebody is, we even have an idiom for it, laying a guilt trip on you. Right? You know it. You know it. And how does it come? It comes as a story. And the story, you're supposed to buy into it. This is our language, right? You're supposed to adopt the story, make it yours, and then react as the person who is telling the story wants you to react so that you will move in a certain direction. So, I'll give you an example. Here's a story. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden sinned, and because we come from them, that sin is never erased, and therefore it's our sin too. So we come flawed. We arrive broken. That's a story that, yes, do you want to testify to that, Heng? How did it come down to you? How does that get told? In the air somewhere. So, but at what age does this story arrive? I didn't hear it the same way. Is it one or the other, or can we do both, Jerry?
Part of the culture. and in many ways, and as you know, and the story, like the Master Heng Sure mentioned about the Eden, that we from beginning and somehow broken, right? And it's very deeply, how to say, spread up, and as most of people I know were broken. So only way to be fixed, you have to go another power. You are powerless to help you yourself. Yeah.
Now, that's a story, and if it were just to say, okay, so there is another power that will save you, that would be, you still have to accept it, but where does guilt come in? The story goes on to say, you are defiled. You cannot be washed clean unless, you know, and then the story goes on. So that's, if I go further, I'm going to sound super critical of the Catholic, the biblical story of the Garden of Eden. And what is this called? It's called original sin. Original sin. And a child does not arrive with this story in their mind. They need to be told it and then made to feel like they're not okay until the second half of the story comes in, how you get clean. So I remember explaining this once to Shifu. And he said, Buddhism doesn't agree. That's not a principle that, if that were true, that would simply be an attachment. The nature doesn't hold original blessings or original sin. Right? The nature is like empty space. It's like a garden before the seeds are planted. So I remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama once had someone, a theologian, explain to him about original sin, and he said, "No, you teach children this? Why? They're not broken, why break them?" He said, you know, it was inconceivable that original sin would be something that parents would be happy to give to their children, the sense of incompletion. So, okay, what are we doing? We're talking about guilt, and if you want to hear somebody complain about other people laying a guilt trip on them, find somebody Jewish and ask them about their mom, right? Jewish moms are excellent in laying a guilt trip on their kids. And this was, my friends all the way through school growing up were all Jewish. And so they would say, "Do you know what my mother told me last night? My mother said, 'You don't care about your mom. You don't appreciate me. Every night when I go to bed, I close my window so I won't use up all the fresh air, so you'll have more. Do you appreciate me? You don't.'" Thanks, Mom. You really sacrifice yourself. You always have, Mom. "You don't love me. You don't appreciate how much I love you." It's not Jewish moms only? Oh, you're kidding. Really? I thought it was, you don't mean Chinese moms also do that? How could that be? And the dads. Oh, I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. So, guilt tripping, right? It's like there's a story coming to you, and you are supposed to, we say, buy into the story, believe the story, and if you do, there is an expected outcome, which is you will be moved, that is to say, manipulated, pushed in the direction that the storyteller wants you to go. Guilt. Okay. Now, what happens if you do buy into it is you get this crushing weight of, right? Oh, I guess I don't have any choice. I better do it, you know. Who, when they have been guilt tripped, goes, yes, yes, oh, I'd love to. It's always this, you know, this sighing, oh man, because it's a heavy burden of guilt. It's not a positive motivation. Okay, what is different? That was all about guilt. What is different about this? Where the Bodhisattva, the Buddhas come, and they say, right? They say, the Buddha dharmas we bestow are not yet yours. You should diligently advance. There's more for you to learn. Although you are free of affliction, living beings' delusions still burn like a fire. Remember your past vows to rescue sentient beings so they can all cultivate the cause and approach liberation. Okay, is that a guilt trip? It's not. And with the words that you would want to hear if it was a guilt trip was, shame on you. You forgot. Something like that, you know. You got free, but beings are suffering. Shame on you. I'm so discouraged. I'm so disappointed in you. Right? So we don't hear that. It's an appeal to compassion instead. And I can see hearing the Buddhas come to me and saying, you know, there's a lot of suffering going on, and going, oh, boy, that hurts. I think I'll go. It's not the, I guess, well, Buddhas, you save them. Why don't you save them? Why are you putting it on me? Not that, right? The Bodhisattva has already made vows to rescue living beings, but has reached this crisis. There's a crossroads, and it's apparently the next step makes you think you're in danger, you're going to lose your mind. And the Buddhas come and say, you've been cultivating really, really well. We verify, we certify, we anoint your crown, we put oil on the crown of your head. You have reached this stage. Guanding Wei. But there's more to learn. You're not a Buddha. And furthermore, the fuel that started you on the path, the Bodhi resolve, is not complete. You are close to Buddhahood, but you know what? You have to do the xia hua zhong sheng part. You have to teach living beings. So keep going. That's not a guilt trip. Shame should, let's take the next step into what does Buddhism use? They say there are 11 wholesome dharmas. There's this book called the 100 Dharmas Shastra, the Shastra on the 100 Dharmas taught by the the Sutra on explaining the 100 Dharmas, the Shastra on explaining the commentary. And it gives, out of those 100, there's 11 wholesome dharmas. One of them is a sense of shame, and the other is a sense of remorse. They say if you don't have them, you're lacking goodness. That's interesting. So what does that mean? I understand it, and if you have any insights on this, you can add them. It's a sense of, oh, you know, I really fell short of my own standards. I didn't do my best. I'm going to try harder. That's shame. You yourself know you didn't give it all. You didn't try your best. That was Master Hua's exhortational time. Try your best. Try your best. Right? And if you're trying your best, it's good enough. But try your best. Aim to excel. That's not seeking, and it's not, oh, I'm so disappointed. You just completely didn't do what I hoped you would do. You know, it's not any external agency pressuring the Bodhisattva with a story. It's, no, here's reality. You know yourself, you didn't excel. Oh, I feel ashamed that I didn't try my best. I'm going to try harder, right? It's not a burden. It's somehow it's a boost. Anyway, that's my sense of shame. Something like that. Now, is that just a wordplay? Is this semantics? No, I think it's real. Guilt is another story. And I've never found guilt in any Buddhist sutra. It's never there. And it doesn't work as fuel, as motivation. Okay, so that's what happens. The Buddhas come, they say, you've gotten free of affliction, but beings are still suffering. Don't forget your past vows so that they can all get free. Yes, that's what we want. Okay, they're still talking. This is the one, the phrase, the quatrain, the verse that the nuns explain. The Dharma nature, true and everlasting, exists beyond thoughts. Cultivators in the two vehicles also know this. This is not how you become honored by the world, only through profound and unobstructed wisdom. Okay, again, more exhortation. They're saying, Arhats, solitary Buddhas, they can see the Dharma nature. They have emptied the self. They can see the Dharma nature, but their wisdom, which is based on seeing how to teach and providing that expedient wisdom, is not there because they haven't been studying it. Who's been studying it? 7-stage bodhisattvas. That was where we learned all about how to teach, right? That was the whole thing, expedient wisdom, teaching according to what beings can understand. They haven't done that yet. So, jayo, jayo, go, go, go. Give me a B, B. Give me an O, O. Give me a D, D. Give me an H, H. Give me an I. What's it spell? What's it spell? What's it spell? Sattva. Okay. If we had pom-poms, we would do it. Can you see the Buddhas there? So, here we are. This is how those worthy of God's and humans' offerings. Who are those? Those are beings who, Tianren Shi, they say, one of the 10 titles of the Buddha. This is how beings who are worthy of offerings from gods and humans give wisdom to you to help you contemplate so that you can get through this difficult crisis. So you realize, scratch the S, the boundless Buddha Dharma, there's more to learn, and in a single thought, transcend your earlier practices. You go from let's see, what do they call it? Effortful practice to effortless practice. That's the deal. And so we saw again at Buddha Root Farm the changes that happen in a week where people are in nature, strangers. They arrive on this mountainside where there's trees. You pitch your tent, you put out your pad, you get out your sleeping bag, and there you are. Strangers out on a mountainside who spend hours every day meditating together, listening to Dharma together, walking up and down in file, chanting Guanyin's name, and then serving each other, working in the kitchen, working in the composting, working in the childcare and teaching, how they grow together, not only in a community, but also in Dharma. We had some pretty amazing transformations in that week. We had one young woman from Florida, Xuan, one of the 3 Ui sisters, and Xuan said, "These snapshots," she said, "you've got to record these and put them out there on," actually it was it Xuan? No, it was It was Shen. Okay. She said, people need to see these. These are the best advertisements for Buddha Root Farm. Your website's pretty old-fashioned. You need to spruce up your website and do it with these stories that people give. She said, and do it lo-fi. Don't record it so you have to be able to download a video. Do it in text so it comes on the phone, and you can read what people say. And there were 90 of us. What was our total? Was it 90? 88? How many, Jerry? Okay, 90. 90 plus, gee. And everybody gave a snapshot about something they were going to carry with them back down the hill, back down the mountain. And the transformations are pretty amazing. Can you remember any of them? Connie, you remember anybody's snapshot? What, just want to tell a story that you heard?
I remember there was a couple of people's snapshots who were of Heng Sure while he was playing soccer with us. He came into the field with a huge umbrella, a Thai forest umbrella, and Heng Sure said that he looked like it reminded him of Mortal Kombat. And so he used this umbrella, and he was on my opponent's team. And so seeing him block the soccer ball with the umbrella and kicking it the other way was just hilarious and frustrating at the same time.
That was our very own Heng Sure playing soccer holding a Thai forest umbrella because it was hot in the sun. That umbrella really moved, I must say. I was watching when that happened. So, yeah, that was one. Sandy, remember one snapshot?
I remember a person saying that she felt lost because she thought she found herself finally in the English world, and then she comes to Buddha Farm and she realized everything she learned and knows up till now is all wrong, and now she feels lost again, but in a good way.
That was interesting, yeah.
One of the 12-year-olds said to me that this was the best retreat that she experienced because she came to work week, and that she doesn't understand why she has to wait a whole year to come back to Buddha Farm. Why is this only once a year, only 1 week? And she kept asking me over and over again, like every day she sees me, why? Why do I have to wait a whole year?
Mm-hmm. Izzy, do you remember anyone stick out to share? These are the snapshots from other people or your own.
Well, when we were on the bus ride in the back, we also just shared between Peter, Nicole, and I.
Can you hold the mic a little closer?
Closer. Oh, so on the bus ride in the back, Peter, Nicole, and I were sharing again our snapshots. And then what we came to agree on was that what we would share with other people was how there was a very safe space at Buddha Root Farm. It's like you said, it's like complete strangers when you go in there, but then when you come out, it's kind of like Dharma family. And it's easy to open up to others, and it's kind of a different type of friends that you can easily open up to and talk to with, and who also have like the same philosophy as you. So nice. They really like that. Yeah.
Okay. Sophie, have you got one?
I remember we had a family from China. They actually traveled from China to visit CCTV and Buddha Farm, and one of the father, Mr. Wang, made a poem in Chinese, and it's like there is a pure land in this word. It is at Buddha Root Farm. 3 generations has one heart. The rainbow manifests at the edge of the sky, like that. In Chinese is 人间有净土，就在佛根地，三代同一心，彩虹现天际。
Cynthia, if you got one.
Yeah, what I remember, I think it was a very happy moment actually for me that DRBY now is revived. I think DRBY is Dhammaram Buddhist Youth Group, and was that about 20 years ago? And this group of kids actually grow up as adults, and now it's like they all work in the society, and a lot of them are helping out with DRBU, the university. But somehow we have not been able to recruit more people. And I really feel the energy in the room, and I think we are now going to have a new era of newcomers with the same resolve and determination to create a network of young people or people older but young in heart to have a network and then to have Dhamma friends and working together to make to benefit the community around us.
So for me, I remember how the snapshot where somebody said that he saw Graciela's mom asking for a cross that Jing He made for her, so that when we're doing, I think it was like for lunch, when we're making off lunch, we're praying at lunch, that she could pray to her God and use that cross. So that was like really inspiring, I think, to that person who said that snapshot.
That was really inspiring. So we had Graciela's mom, Senora Espinosa, came. What's her first name? I always call Elia Espinosa. She's how old? Anybody ask? Old. She's old. Older than me. And she came. And Graciela brought her mom. And her mom, you should know that Graciela Espinosa, John Fo, you remember Graciela? Chela? She came here, we've been here since 1995. She was here in 1996. And her mom was sure that her daughter had fallen into the hells, that there was no saving her daughter once she went to a Buddhist place. She was just, it was the end of her daughter. And how times change, right? 23 years later, here's mom at the camp with her son, Homero, as well. So we had 3 members of the Espinosa family there at Buddhawood Farm. And her mom was a Catholic from Mexico. And so Jin He, our monk, made her a cross and set it in a place in the dining room so that when we were chanting our Buddhist chanting, she would have a place to do her prayers as well, which is really gracious gesture. That's a really big-hearted. And I watched Senora Espinosa. Whenever we went like this, she folded her hands the way a good Christian does, right? Until the end, and she put her palms together. So that changed, yeah. Did she ever bow? She didn't bow, right? I didn't see her bow. That's good. So, Mai, you don't have a microphone, but do you want to? We could maybe Connie, you want to take it up? I'm sure it'll go. Mai will share a snapshot with us too. Who's that in the back? I can't see. Is that a? Gohua's hiding. That's why she's in the back. Gohua. Yeah.
You would like me to share my snapshot? Yeah, I would like to share my snapshot.
Okay, sure.
Because I enjoy to see more young people join the Buddha Root Farm, and they really understood what the Master talked in the Dharma talk, because I watched them getting in line, getting food, and one of the kids said, get as much chips as you could, and the other kids said that's greed, isn't it? So that's really touched me a lot. I said, wow, the Dharma really, touched their hearts very well. And they said that they will come home and encourage their father to be vegetarian. And the father looked at me and he half smiled. He said, well, should I listen to them? And I said, well, if you want them to be a good kid, this is the environment. So
causing a lot of trouble in the kitchen.
Yeah,
when you
the
go
food
home,
is
Mom,
the food
I'm
was
not eating
good.
meat. Who says you're not eating meat? Oh my, that's good though. That's plant a seed.
And there are many programs that people can join. I really appreciated the yoga, because Thomas showed us the stretch that help us in sitting in full lotus. So it's very helpful.
So Tomas, our friend from many years,
Thank you.
volunteered to lead a yoga class, because our regular yoga teacher, Fab, wasn't able to make it, so Tomas taught, and part of the yoga class was stretching to improve full lotus practice. And Mai says it worked. So, yeah. Kohua. I have to tell you, I came up, I live next to the Chan Hall, and I came up and it was 5 o'clock and everybody was down having dinner. There was one person meditating alone in the Chan Hall night after night. Guess who? Kohua. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't help anything on the cooking. But when I go to Buddha Root Farm, so I love to stay in the Buddha Hall. I don't know, when I go there and meditate, I feel very peaceful. And every time, really peaceful and happiness. I just try every single my meditate finish. I transfer merit all the world and the people in the Oregon have the peaceful and look like me. But the afternoon is really hard. So when I sit, the heat come up. But I love meditation, so I just sit and wet all my body. I'm really how to say is very thank you all the cooking people. They make the food very good. Even I eat one meal, but it's really healthy. I should not eat much, but because too good, I eat a lot. So that's why when I meditate, I sleep. I fell asleep in the morning. Sometimes I make a noise a little bit. Afternoon. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
But I really thank you, Dharma Master, give all the Dharma, because the way you give me make me more how to confident to stay on my meditate, and my mind is very, how to say, very solid to ask the question, who is my how to say, mindful. Name for 是谁. Everything come up, I just 是谁, and everything is sum up look like the food or something. When I just say 谁, it not belong to the Buddha nature. They will go on away and make me more stable. So that is the way this time I got it this time. But
go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know how to say it. But thank you, Dharma Master Sư and Heng Lai Sư. watching me to meditate.
Can't hear Goha. You have to put it closer. Okay.
And how all the kids, at least the young kids, is really concerned this time. They very study the Buddhism, and the way they ask, the more they ask, look like they know a lot. Look like her son, when come back, he said, I love this Oregon and the Buddha Dharma and the 101. That's it.
Okay. All right. That's a great snapshot. Thank you, Goha. So Goha said she sits every day and she feels very peaceful. And she transferred merit after every sit so that everybody in Oregon would be as peaceful as she was sitting there. And she said sitting there in the afternoon, the heat comes up, and she would just sit through the heat because she just likes to meditate so much. And she apologized that she wasn't in the kitchen, but there were years when, before Sandy and Angela and Spike did the kitchen, when Gohua and Gojian you were the kitchen, you guys, the sisters. And so Goha says sorry she couldn't do it this time, but she was really meditating. And sometimes she nods out, but she really felt like because she meditated, she could hear the Dharma. When the Dharma was spoken, it went in deeper because of her meditation. So that's pretty effective meditation. So yeah, appreciate that. That's great. Jerry, do you have a snapshot you want to share? Or something that you heard others, or? Here comes the mic.
I remember the snapshot I remember is Mr. Wang. On the night of, they went to waterfall, so they come back, it was dark, it's pretty late, so he had to take a shower in the dark without a light. So he was struggle to find a soap, shampoo in our outdoor shower. And I said, there's no light. And then he looked up, suddenly he see, oh, this is not only a 5-star bathroom, this is 20-star bathroom. So all the stars on the sky, he is able to see from the bathroom, so from the shower room. Yeah.
So one of the aspects about camping out in the Oregon woods is that we kind of do it ourselves. The word is rustic. It's rustic, not rusty, rustic, right? Meaning like kind of raw, kind of basic. And there's a shower stall. That's an outdoor shower. Water's hot and all, but there's no ceiling, right? And they called it a 5-star shower. 5-star shower. And so Mr. Wang said he came back late from the waterfall trip, and so he had to take a shower in the dark. And he thought, oh my gosh, there's no light, what am I going to do? And then he realized, and he looked up, and there was a sky full of stars. And so he said, wow, this is a 20-star shower. And it's a multi-star shower. The one that I was going to share, that it was also, this is Wang Hongbing, or was it Dr. Wang? Yeah, Dr. Wang. He said, another one of his snapshots impressed me because he had his wife and 2 kids there. He's got Leo, his son, who is now, how old is Leo? 6? And his daughter's name is? Catherine. She's younger. Is she the Jie? She's the Jie. She's older. Leo is this little endearing little 6-year-old. And he said, somebody appreciated Dr. Wang for the afternoon soccer game, being out there running in the dirt with everybody and his kids, playing soccer with his kids. And Dr. Wang is a very busy man. He said, I really like to come to Buddha Root Farm because I can put all my medical duties aside and spend some time with my kids. Apparently time is hard to get. When you're a doctor, you're always on call. So he said, I really liked playing soccer with my kids because, he said, I saw my son Leo who is usually laughing and kind of a, scattered little boy, he said when the ball was coming at him in the different situations, he was very resolute, he said. And he imitated his son, and he was tuned into his son's state of mind, watching him face the ball. And here's this little guy who, when the ball was coming, just got into position and was, ready to defend. And his dad was watching, and his dad was impressed. And then he said, and my daughter, what did he say about his daughter? What was the comment? She was determined with the ball. And he said, I so much liked seeing what the situations in a soccer game brought out of my kids. I like that. My favorite moment of the Buddha Root Farm is, and I realize we've only done a single quatrain today, but today this is a little bit extraordinary. And Jinwei Sure was able to start us out, and then we covered the ground that the nuns covered. My favorite moment was something totally unexpected for me, which was Jin Chuan Sure, who's not with us here tonight. He's at City of 10,000 Buddhas, greeting the guests who have come from Huafan Daxue outside of Taipei to City of 10,000 Buddhas to take part in the Chan session, or the Guanyin session, and he is up there hosting them. Jin Chuan Sure is a fan of the English translation of the Song of Enlightenment, Zhang Dao Ge. And so on his initiative, we printed it out into a booklet to take up, made 100 copies at Krishna Copy here in Berkeley to take up to the Buddha Root Farm. And it was a lot of hands worked together to get it printed, to get it picked up, to get it boxed, to take it up. And I opened it up the first day and told people about it. We played Shifu's chanting, Jun Bu Jian Jue Xiao Wu Wei Xin Dao Ren. His Chinese version, which I recorded in 1985, and we had it on the screen. We had the original Chinese on the screen. And then I did the English translation. And I do this too often. I let the instrument get in the way of the music, and instead of just simply singing it. So I said, I'm not sure which melody we should use. And I had a couple melodies. And the first one was a hymn. So let's see, something like, let's see, only the Chinese comes to mind. So, 水无念，水无声，饶是无声无不生. It's whoever ends there something has also stopped rebirth. Once rebirth dies, then all things come alive. Find a puppet on a string and ask him his advice. Seek Buddhahood, apply yourself, you get there by and by. I sang the hymn version of it, and everybody went, And then I said, well, how about this? How about the high lonesome sound of the Appalachians? See, as it goes. Whoever stopped their thinking has also stopped rebirth. Once rebirth dies, then all things come alive. Find a puppet on a string and ask him his advice. Seek Buddhahood, apply yourself, you'll get there by and by. That's called the Lonesome Fiddler. That's a Celtic melody from probably 1600 or something, from Scotland coming down, Blind Fiddler. And everyone went, we like that one. Like that one, that's better. Somebody said, when Shifu sang it, I got goosebumps. When you did the hymn thing, nothing. Sing the other one. That's a little better. So we did that. Okay, so then we didn't touch it again the rest of the week. Then I brought it out Thursday morning, and everybody had a copy. And I took the melody, dee 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 da dee da da dee 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 da da da. I played it on my tin whistle, and we opened it up, and everybody immediately sang along every verse, never having read, much less sung it before. Everybody sang along. It was like I'm hearing the entire Chan Hall singing Song of Enlightenment, reading it along, because it meters. The difference is that the English actually counts. It meters. Dum, dee, dee, da, dum, 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 dum. That was a thrill for me, to lead a Song of Enlightenment chorus, impromptu, totally, right. So, Sophie, you're a musician. What was your impression, Niyo Shama Ganxiang, when you're hearing the Song of Enlightenment chorus there?
My impression, it's actually resonates with what my snapshot is like. I think we at Buddha Root Farm, I really felt we were experiencing Dharma in the West, and as I was hearing the Zhen Dao Ge, it's this like ancient melody that we can sing with Chinese, but at the same time we can also sing in English, and with people from like at least 5 nations. We have people from China, Italy, Mexico,
Spain.
Yeah, Spain and Vietnam. Argentina, Malaysia, Taiwan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Singapore.
Here, so a lot, and
we didn't have anybody from Poland. Did you notice?
Yeah,
why? He gave up his trip to care for the sick. So.
Yeah. So I always feel that music is a universal language, and the Dharma in music with this Asian Chinese melody, with English translation and also this Chinese original, it just I feel this universal, this unity in the Chan Ho as we experience Dharma at Buddha Root Farm. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, thank you for that. All right, the time has come, and we appreciate the translation happening in Australia, going to China. Did they tell you how many folks are there, Jerry? 63, more every week. How many online with us tonight? $41, see, China scale. And appreciate everybody who came out tonight here in person, in the Vietnamese translation in the balcony. We're going to dedicate merit now. We will be continuing with our investigation of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Appreciate Jinwei Sure stepping in the very last minute and doing a creditable job of opening the sutra up. We'll transfer the merit first and then show you some photos of the week in Oregon. In terms of transferring merit, 2 hours ago, we were on Highway 101, opposite City of 10,000 Buddhas. We were looking at a plume of smoke that my guess is that might have been 1,000 feet up in the sky, about 1/3 of a mile up, and it covered a couple miles from this. There were three fires burning that we could see just behind City of 10,000 Buddhas, and it looks a lot like this is how the world ends, you know. These clouds of wildfire. Northern California is burning. And we had to reroute because of the fire in Redding, which they say the sky was black this morning with ashes. There was no, we changed our route because there was no gas available because the electricity was all gone. No electricity to power the pumps, to fuel the bus. So, my goodness, this is a difficult time. This is the end of July, and the big fires happened last year in November, so we've got another 4 months of this this situation to live through. So transfer the merit.
I'm going to ask you to let the screen come down without bopping you on the head. And we'll turn the projector on.
Okay. Okay, the misty property on the banks of the North Fork of the Smith River. Kentucky Falls. Thursday's event. Magical place. Work crew at the beach on the dunes. Hold on here. Okay.
probably half a day's food. Work crew cleaning up what's called the half can, because it looks like half of a can. It's officially known as a Quonset hut. Here's the work crew work list, Team A, Team B. Angela, who with her husband Spike did a lot of the cooking this time. Cleaning out all the chairs. This is Mr. Wang. This is Wang Zilong's dad. If people know Wang Zilong, that's service base. They reinforced the trail going up and down. It's Orlan. Cleaning out all the, dusting off the, this is the Chan Hall, where the Dharma activities, the sutra and the meditation happens. These are the cushions, meditation cushions. Here's Leo, the 6-year-old soccer player. Installing a new flush toilet. That's a first. This is Nam. A meditator. This is Jinhe and his glot, his Thai forest monk umbrella. Spike and Omar. Sandy, and what's her name? Amy? That's Amy, who's a veteran now. This is Megan telling the work crew about the jobs. The work crew goes up a week early. Here they are. They spent 2 weeks there. This is somebody talking too much on the bus on the way up. The bus. Okay, here's a cloud of smoke over city of 10,000 Buddhas. Oh, there's Highway 5. Okay. On the way up. Oh, this is the fire on the way up. Okay, I beg your pardon. This is the Shasta fire on the way up. What's with this mic? It's pop, 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 pop. Funny. Whose is this mic, by the way? This is not ours. This is previous. The old one, yeah. It's somehow. Okay, so this is the fire that became the Redding fire on the way up. Elk. Seen that one before. Turtle Mountain Wildlife Refuge. Beautiful blue sky where we were on the coast. The interior, the Willamette Valley temperature was 96 degrees, where we were 51 degrees. 40-degree difference. That's an elk calf. There we are. That's your condo. Denise. These, if anybody is interested, these are all the photographers listed down below. 20 different photographers contributed to this. Here's the elk calf on his way up the road. These are Michael's photos. This is, I like the atmosphere here. Dawn in the forest. Waffles. The thing is, it rains in Oregon 9 months out of the year, and we're there for this little window of no rain. And so everything is green and soft. Here's the Chan Hall. On the mountaintop, this is on Turtle Mountain. Here's our program, Dharma 101, taught by Jin Chuan and Jin He, just going over the basics, asking questions. Here's Dharma Master Hung Lai, who came down from Snow Mountain to be with us. This is evening, or this is the morning in the Chan Hall. This is how a lecture happens. You can see there's pretty close to 90 people sitting around. Here's the Song of Enlightenment. Goodbye to good and evil, goodbye to loss and gain. Tomas is pouring tea. Room for lots of great conversations. This is the first sitting discussion of the new Dharma Realm Buddhist Youth, DRBY. This happened, you can see, yesterday. Marian taught a great Taiji class, carrying on the Wunwu school's tradition. Tomas's yoga class. There was the Ui sisters from Florida taught lion dance and mixed martial arts. That was really popular. Really popular. And the food that just can't be beat. Many people said, I just ate the best meal I ever ate in my life. Of course, it doesn't hurt that you're out in fresh air walking up and down the mountain. You get a good appetite. The bhikshunis were a major part of the camp. We had Jinro Shi and Jin An Shi, Jin Zhong Shi. This is Senora Espinosa we talked about, Ilia. The nuns were very much present, leading all the meditations and telling their stories and speaking Dharma and just witnessing for women in robes. There we go. Coming down the hill. The hats are optional. You don't have to wear one of those hats if you're a monk. That's an option. The silver surfer, the fruit surfer. Our ceremonies are largely in English. Lunchtime. Dharma talks at lunch. Here's Tina, everybody knows from Berkeley. Dishwashing. A lot of the snapshots had to do with how much fun dishwashing is. This is Orlan, who single-handedly takes on all of the trash and recycling duties. Here he is with Marian. Tea. Banjo string changing. This is Pip Cole, one of the originals from 1975, Buddha Root Farm number 1. Lives up in Florence. He's a real Oregon mountain man. This is Jerry's Alberico guitar. The Dharma 101 class happens under the trees in the shade, just asking a bunch of, the board is full of questions about Dharma, and then you get a chance to explore the basics. Here's what that's like. That was one of the most popular classes. Taught by Jin Chuan. Graciela. The river, there were multiple trips to the river supervised. We insisted that the kids do not go alone to the river, but when the adults went, it was great fun. crawdads, and newts. The encounter with what was it? It's a amphibian, right? That you pull out and then you put back. Cairns in the river. Fish. Discovering all the critters. Frisbee. The famous soccer umbrella. Meditation circle with the kids. Typical. We have breakout circles. We had men talking to men, women talking to women by request. They said, we haven't had a chance to talk to the nuns alone. So the men got a chance to talk, and those breakouts are really good. Ukulele. A deer. Grasshopper. Is it a spider? That's a beautiful photo. The waterfall is always a favorite trip. Hear the nuns speaking Dharma in the evening. Somebody said that somebody got enlightened. I don't know if that's true or not. Connie's photograph. Here's the Big Dipper, if you can see it. The pole star is out here. We're almost done. Group. There we go. We did it. Any, Cherry, any videos that we want to show or not?
If you want to show Denise.
Oh, okay. Denise, how does she say her last name? Cao. Okay, C-A-O, is quite a singer. And oops. No audio. Is it supposed to come through desktop presenter, Jerry?
No, what sound's supposed to go to soundboard.
Ah. Oops. Hold on. Let's see. How does it sound? She's really got it. You like the beauty of her voice? It's just, no. Make it work, Dharma Master. So.
Is it the preference? So that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a problem with soundboard.
Okay. Okay.
Quick intro, I guess, before I do my song. So, growing up, I've been singing for about maybe 6 to 8 years before I came to CTTB, and I sang a lot for my local Vietnamese community. I sang Vietnamese classical songs. I sang for temples. I sang also English modern songs, jazz songs, etc., etc. But I find the most joy when I'm singing songs of Dharma. So I particularly resonate with the song "She Carries Me," and I actually got first introduced to it when I go to the Blessings, Longevity, and Prosperity Monastery in Long Beach, and Heng Sure, am I saying his name right? Yeah, Heng Sure, he showed me a video of Reverend Heng Sure singing "She Carries Me," and after that, I was mind blown. I loved how the song made me feel so filled with hope and compassion and love, and I feel like I have a really deep affinity with Guanyin Bodhisattva. So when I heard a song that had to do with Guanyin Bodhisattva, I was like, wow, even better. And I feel like the song doesn't even have to really just talk about Guanyin Bodhisattva. It can just be about any female figure in your life that fills you with this hope and with this compassion. So I'm just going to be singing "She Carries Me" as an offering for Dharma Masters and everyone today. We already heard it, I know, but hopefully you guys don't mind hearing it again. So, okay, I'm just gonna go do it. All right. She is a bow, she is a light, high on a hill, in dark of night. She is a wave, she is the deep, she is the dark, where the angels sleep, high on a hill, where peace abides. She carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side.
Okay, that's Denise. Yeah, nice. We're gonna make that. She only does part of it. We're gonna make that more available for everybody, and we hope that there will be more Dharma songs that Denise will want to sing. So, where's the projector popper? Yep. We're done. So it's 9:30, and I don't want to keep people later. Thank you for sitting through the slideshow with us. That is kind of like, Uncle Charlie's summer vacation slideshows, but but it means a lot to us, and we're happy to share it. So this is Buddha Root Farm, and we've done it yet another year, which is kind of amazing all in itself. And Jin Wei-Shur was all ready to go and had a lot of work to do up there. He had his teaching all set up, and then had to change his plans so he could to look after the sick. So that was pretty noble to let that go, and appreciate it. So, all right. Now the screen is up. I'm going to go over and pick up the bell and bow to the Buddhas and invite you all to do the same, and appreciate everybody's effort to put this lecture out, get it on the road and out on the airwaves, not only here but also in China, through Australia, which is kind of amazing. And Guanyin Bodhisattva session is beginning at City of 10,000 Buddhas tonight, and will continue for a week. If anybody has a chance to go bow to Guanyin and recite the Universal Door, highly recommended. Wonderful experience. Any other announcements this week? That's it. Okay, shall we bow to the Buddhas? I'll see you next week.